James, and today we're looking at Flank March Miniatures Lionheart range. This is about to launch on a Kickstarter, but Steffan very kindly sent me some pre-printed figures for me to have a look at. Now, they are a really nice range. They're intended for 28mm I've got here, but he has pre-supported them for both 15 and 20mm apparently. And they are intended to be late 1970s, early 1980s British. Their Lionheart is probably about the limit you could put them as because of the kit, but there may be a trick that we can do to push them a little further on. Now, the figures are wearing the windproof or the SAS smock. Lovely bit of kit. Mine got worn out, and my second one is still quite battered. They're also wearing the DMS boots. Now, that does date them to the Falklands and just after, when they were replaced by the high leg boots. Now, in the smaller scales particularly, you could probably paint over the puttees with just black, and they would look like the high leg boots. So you could push them a little bit further forward with that. That would take them up to probably second line troops in the Gulf. If you're a Twilight 2000 player, then you could regard it as kit that's been taken out of storage and used with that. Now, the figures are wearing 58 pattern webbing. They are wearing the textbook pattern. I know kit used to get modified quite heavily. Steffan was quite surprised when I mentioned to him that mine actually had a Pakistani ammunition pouch on the back because it would hold the large mess tins, whereas the water bottle pouches that most people replace the kidneys with wouldn't. He was willing to look at that as a sculpt, but considering I was the only one that ever wore it, I don't think it'd be that appropriate. So they are wearing the 58 weapon, which is very nicely modelled. It's got something I see very infrequently, which is the 58 ammunition pouches angled back slightly. People think that they're vertical. They weren't. They went back slightly, unlike the old 37 pattern. So that's nicely done. One or two of the figures do have the kidney pouches replaced with water bottle pouches, although that is quite hard to see. There is going to be an option to have backpacks on the figures, because I did query about the fact that a lot of people, myself included, put a second 58 poncho roll across the top. And unfortunately, that would interfere with the backpack. So, yeah, okay, fair enough. Weapon-wise, there's a good range. There's Sterling submachine guns, the SLR rifle, which is incredibly well detailed. I don't think I've ever seen an SLR printed up so nicely as this. The L7 GPMG or Gympie, there's that. I haven't painted one up here, but there's the L42A1 sniper rifle, the old Lee Enfield. There's the Carl Gustav, the 84. That's quite nicely modelled, and there will be M72s, which will be loose to be added to figures. Although one of the stretch goals will feature firing figures. Other stretch goals include the Bren, the medic, a senior officer, Royal Engineers, and a blowpipe team. There are some support weapons that I've still got to paint up, including a 2-inch mortar, the 51mm, depending on which one you want to look at it as. It's hard to tell in scale. Milan, SF Gympie, they are really nice figures. There's a really nice Milan he's done, where you actually got it mid-firing with the gases coming out the back. I quite like that one. That's quite clever. There's also radio operators carrying a separate UK PRC 351. That just glues on. That's nice. Head-wise, you can see I've used a variety. He's done them with Parachute Regiment berets, although to be honest, if you can tell the cap badge at this scale, there's something very impressive about your eyesight, so it would paint up as most of them. You've got the Mark IV steel helmet, and I've just done one with that, the Carl Gustav gunner. I quite like that. I think that looks a really accurate depiction of it. Then you've got the what usually get called the Kevlar helmets, the Mark 6, or para helmets. In all fairness, at this scale, you would struggle to tell them apart. And having them as the Mark 6, paint them up as that, does extend the figures on a few years. I know there's going to be figures with field caps. I've seen some of those already, turned out to have in some of Steffan's pictures. And there's also radio operator heads with a very nice headset on there. So they are a really, really nice bunch of figures. I'm really happy with the ones he sent me. They're painted up really easily, even though they're wearing DPM. I'm going to back the Kickstarter and, you know, have a look at it, see what you think. If it's successful, he's already considering doing some Soviets and potentially also later British, later 1980s ones, which will have the SA-80. So have a look at the Kickstarter. I'll put a link in the description and let me know what you think.